What's up, guys? Hope everybody's doing well and having a great day. This is what the sky looked like about 48 hours ago from right out here in Arizona. This is a conjunction of the crescent moon, and this was Venus in the western sky at sunset. I also received video footage from Australia of the same phenomenon in the sky. Video footage taken about 6 hours apart from the video that I took and the video you're going to see from Australia. This is where the videos were taken from, right out here in southeast Phoenix in the northern hemisphere, and another video from the southern hemisphere along the east coast of Australia in Glenwood, Queensland, below the equator. But both of these videos tell a story about the Earth, and we're going to take a look at that story that these videos were telling us. And here we go. Here's a video that I put together using the videos from Australia and the videos that I took from North America. Is this more proof that the Earth is not flat? And what you're about to see in this video footage could not have occurred if the Earth was flat. The only way that what you're about to see could have happened is if the Earth was round, and during the winter solstice. It would be more noticeable during the winter and summer solstice in the northern and southern hemisphere. We're going to start out looking at video footage from right down here out of Glenwood, Australia in Queensland. Video footage sent in by Josephine from December 5th of 2024. This video footage was taken about 6.5 hours after my video footage, and they too had an excellent view of the crescent moon and Venus at sunset in the western sky. They were a little curious as to what that object was right there. That was Venus in the western sky, just like we saw in the northern hemisphere. However, this configuration looks much different in the northern hemisphere than it does in the southern hemisphere. And there's only one reason that this could happen. This phenomenon is explainable, and we're going to get right to it. This video out of Australia was about 4 minutes long. I'm going to step it fast forward, and we're going to look at this same conjunction in the northern hemisphere. Here we go. This is video footage that I took right around 7, maybe 6.5 hours earlier from up here in southeast Phoenix above the equator in the northern hemisphere. And notice the difference. This is the same conjunction, looks drastically different than it does in the southern hemisphere, right? In the southern hemisphere, the moon was above Venus. In the northern hemisphere, the moon is below Venus. And I took this video footage at 5:40 p.m. on December 4th. Again, it was already December 5th in the southern hemisphere in Australia and New Zealand. This was looking west at sunset, and you can clearly see the crescent moon below Venus, the exact opposite of what they saw down in the southern hemisphere. Here's a short video that I took of Venus and the crescent moon. And coming up is more video footage that I took. I had my camera on a tripod. That's why it's so steady. This is actually video footage of the crescent moon and Venus. Here they are side by side. This is my video over here on the left from the northern hemisphere in Arizona, and on the right it's the video that was sent in by Josephine, who took the video about 6.5 hours after I did up here in the northern hemisphere. They're completely backwards, and you can clearly see what's going on here. The crescent moon being visible above Venus from Australia, the crescent moon being visible below Venus in Arizona, and all of the northern hemisphere for that matter. And here's why they look so drastically different. All about angles, and the story that they were telling us is that the Earth has to be round, or that wouldn't have happened. From Australia, I put together this diagram and this arrow pointing towards the moon. You can see this arrow is much steeper than the arrow from Arizona, implying that the moon would appear to be higher in the sky from Australia than it would Arizona, giving us these two different perspectives of this conjunction of Venus and the crescent moon. The angle of the moon is much steeper, especially during the solstice, and we're 2 weeks away from the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere. And here's a look at the angle again, looking at the moon from Australia, and it's simply the angle of the moon from Australia. The moon appears to be higher in the sky because it's closer to the Earth than Venus. Venus is several million miles away from the Earth. The moon is, what, a couple 100,000 miles away from the Earth? So it's going to appear to be higher in the sky from Australia the lower you go down the latitudes. The higher up you go in the latitudes, in the northern hemisphere, the moon's going to appear a little bit lower. But again, unless there's some sort of a conjunction like we had here, it's not really going to be that noticeable, if noticeable at all. But you can definitely notice it during a planetary conjunction. I drew an arrow from Arizona to the moon. In this diagram, you can see the angle from Arizona is not quite as steep as the angle from Australia, giving the viewers from Australia this perspective of the conjunction. And here's the perspective that I had, and everybody in the northern hemisphere that saw it appeared to see the moon below Venus instead of above Venus, telling us a story that the Earth has to be round or it would look the same all over the entire Earth. And yes, the moon does move through the sky, but I want to show you something. The moon moves in the opposite direction. And I'll use a photo that I took for presentation purposes. The moon moves across the sky this way, to the left. So it couldn't have been because the moon was moving. That's why we have a different view from Australia. The moon moved during that 6-7 hour period between the time I took the video footage and they took the video footage down in Australia. That's not the case. The moon moves across the sky from right to left. That's how we end up with the full moon. Coming over here to Moon Giant, here's the different phases of the moon. And on December 4th, we had a 13% crescent moon. Moving up to the 5th, we had a 21% waxing crescent moon. Today on the 6th, we have a 30% waxing crescent moon. That's because the moon is moving across the sky away from the sun from right to left, ultimately giving us the large full moon around the 20th or 21st. The moon is not moving towards Venus, like in this case here. The moon would not be moving this direction. It was actually pulling away from Venus. I saw the moon the next night in the sky, and it was back here. Venus was over here to the right. So it's not because of the movement of the moon. Yes, the moon appears to move through the day and nighttime skies, but it's moving across the sky in a different direction. So that definitely wasn't the cause. This observation can only happen because the Earth is round and on a tilt. So now the tilt being the greatest in the month of December, we're approaching full tilt, 23.6 on December 21st of 2024. The next solstice will be June 20th of 2025. So rare phenomena spotted from Arizona and Australia. Not necessarily rare, but it's not something you see very often. Kind of like these weird clouds spotted out here in Arizona yesterday. I took this photo from right out here in southeast Phoenix. This was off in the eastern sky. It was not a cloudy day. There were a few clouds over here. This particular cloud here started to turn into the shape of a vortex, and I wasn't the only one that noticed this. Apparently, a lot of people noticed this yesterday evening. And here's another photo I took of this unusual cloud. At first, I thought maybe this was wildfire smoke, and so did a lot of other viewers. There's a photo that was taken by Alexis F., and you can see it almost looks like a tornado in the sky. And again, it wasn't a cloudy day. Here's a photo that was taken by Cindy F., who also noticed this very strange cloud configuration in the sky, moving very slowly from east. By now, when I'm taking this video, it was in the northwestern sky. And as you can see in this video, it's got an extra component now. What looks like a dark cylinder that wasn't there earlier, that just kind of appeared out of nowhere. And again, yesterday was not a cloudy day. This was a star off in the distance. I took this video from right out here in southeast Phoenix. I don't know what was going on, but this cloud here was a dark gray. The other clouds, obviously taller, absorbing sunlight, were brighter, a light orange. But there were several people that took photos and videos of this weird cloud configuration out here in Arizona yesterday around 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So once again, rare video footage surfaces out of Australia and Arizona, proving that the Earth cannot be flat. Otherwise, this phenomenon that we just saw wouldn't have been visible. Thanks for watching. Have a super day and be safe out there.